Marcus in California. Hi, Marcus.
Oh, hi guys, it's me again.
Hello. What can we do for you tonight?
I'm going to use some terms that relate to genitalia.
This is a show for that. You are good.
So I've talked before about my learned repulsion for bodies that have penises attached to them. And I want to get past that, because when I was younger, 18, 19, 20, I watched a lot of gay porn and really enjoyed it. And had a couple of relationships with some men. But then my life pivoted, and I went, if you forgive the term, went balls deep into a sanctimonious religious cult, where that was prayed out of me several times and just shamed and all that other stuff. And now I'm feeling like I'm kind of I'm really ready to be done with that. But I'm still finding that I am unable to reclaim the excitement I had as a young man.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been talking a lot about how, scenarios in different contexts can take on very different meanings. And I think it's probably important to recognize that whenever you were having these experiences as a younger person, that and this like porn or whatever was really exciting you, it sounds like the contexts are very different now. You went through, it sounds like a religious indoctrination. So it sounds like whatever shame complexes might have been there before were really emboldened. I hope if you can afford it that you are in therapy, or at least you have a strong support network around you. I think, but it sounds like you're on the right path, much like our caller earlier, Julie. It sounds like you are aware that you are at point A and you want to get to point C, and you're trying to figure out how you navigate that path to the end. And that is really the most crucial starting point to, really navigating that path. So I think I want to commend you for, being able to recognize that and start that journey willingly.
Yeah, and as we told Julie earlier, it's important to remember that we heal slowly, especially when we're talking about trauma. And in fact, we run the risk of re-traumatizing or making the situation in many ways worse if we rush it too much. And so it is a good idea to be slowly walking towards the edge of things that make you feel uncomfortable without pushing too hard against it. If you find yourself feeling that sense of revulsion or feeling overwhelmed, it's probably a good sign to step back or to slow down. And I would definitely encourage you to be going with somebody, whether that is a therapist or some other helping professional, or at least somebody who has been through it themselves or that knows and loves you and supports you.
Oh, wow, that sounds uncomfortable. I will take note of that. Thank you, Christy. Last year, this is kind of embarrassing, and so what I did last year is I'm a big, I don't know if you guys play video games, but I'm a big Skyrim fan.
Okay.
And I found this mod. You know where I'm going with this?
I'm going to make you say it out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, I found a magic spell that made the men's clothes come off. And that there was just when I cast this spell, there was just pipes swinging all over Skyrim. And
you mean that thing that we all were told would happen on our Super Nintendo? Like, was I the only like 8-year-old boy that was told that all the characters in Mortal Kombat would be naked if you just pushed in the right button combination and furiously tried every button combination?
You've done it, Marcus. You've done it.
So, well, two things happened at the exact same time when I did that. The first thing was, oh, this is cool. I'm into this. The second thing that happened was, oh my God, you pervert, you are taking away an NPC's, you're violating an NPC. And then I turned off the computer and erased the mod.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a good indication that there's still some squeamishness here, which is totally okay. I will definitely empower you to know that you don't owe much of an apology to a computer algorithm. That I recognize it feels a little gross, though, and that's because your brain is having your feelings, and that's okay. It's not anything that needs to involve the creators or other players or anything else. If this is just something that is between you and your brain, it's something that you and your brain can work out together. But as a social creature, let me just say again that you can work it out much easier with a little bit of help.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Oh, God. Okay. Any other ideas?
Well, my thought is that while I completely understand that initial, I'm doing this and they're not in the story aware that I'm doing this and this feels like a violation of their autonomy, which, good for you for having that instinct. Like, that's a good instinct to have. It almost feels to me, and I definitely don't want to psychoanalyze you, especially not as the therapist on the call, but it almost feels like your brain is trying to rationalize why you felt bad about it, right? Mm-hmm. And it is a really reasonable thing to be concerned about someone's autonomy and consent. So it might be that your brain was like, this feels wrong and I'm not sure what. Oh, it could be that it feels non-consensual and that's why. But I'd encourage you to maybe explore that a little bit more. Is that really the reason you felt that way? Or maybe it was the first thing you grabbed onto when really it was more about that internalized kind of shame from your upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you saying that I was looking for an excuse to stop the exploration and reclaiming my youthful passion?
Well, probably not intentionally. I wouldn't say that, it was an intentional thing, but your brain has been wired a certain way by your indoctrination, right? It's a physical thing that happened to your brain, which is why it's so insidious to do that to somebody. So, of course, your brain is going to fire in all of the ways it's been trained to fire. And it's natural to, listen to your brain. My brain said this, okay, that's the reason, I'm moving on. But
yeah,
it's possible that if you dug a little bit deeper and internalized the fact that these are computer programs, this isn't a real person, you're not doing this to somebody who has actual autonomy or could give consent, it's all in play. This could be considered a kink, right? This is a very harmful way to explore kink. See if that uncomfortability is still there. And if it is, maybe it's coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, if it helps to not think of it as an excuse so much as an explanation, it may not be true, but your brain is desperately searching for some sort of explanation, something to justify a visceral reaction that's happening from perhaps outside of your brain. I don't want to get too wrapped up into right. Perception and all of these things, but your mind and your brain are not the same. And there are messages coming from other parts of your body that you are experiencing as thought, as emotion, as sensation. And those things are often pre-verbal or don't come packaged with a sophisticated insight and explanation.
Yeah, I don't know if it helps at all to hear this either, but also I grew up in a very, very anti-queer, anti-trans, anti-gay environment. Between my school and home, it was just constant barraging of those messages. So I struggled for a very, very long time to even experience sexuality in my body comfortably because, I heard so many messages about, as a trans person, like, trans people are perverts, trans people are freaks or whatever it might be. And I internalized a lot of those messages. I felt for a long time it was really hard for me to engage with my sexuality and with my body and with my partners because I was consumed with messages of shame and self-loathing around that particular aspect of my life. So if you haven't heard anyone else say it before, that you are definitely not alone in experiencing shame and a lot of cognitive dissonance around the things that your body is telling you, or it sounds at least like your brain and body are telling you that you are turn-ons for you, or it might be things to like explore more deeply.
Thank you, Saint Eve. I kind of do need someone to give me permission, and I hate saying that, but I do appreciate it.
I hereby give you permission.
Yeah. Well, and we're being silly about it, and I'm great with that. And I don't want to belabor the point any further, but I do want to just highlight the fact that the fact that you need permission, so to speak. I know it's a turn of phrase, but that's coming from this reality that your body evolved over millions and millions of years to co-regulate with the other primates, with the other mammals around you. We truly are a social species, and there's a lot of value, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of growth in responding to these traumatic experiences with the support and the permission, the approval of somebody else.
Okay. I hear it and I accept it, and yes. Thank you, Christy.
Well, it can be a difficult pill to swallow, phrasing, I guess. But these are complicated things. I mean, we've been talking all night about healing from trauma and about how to explore our sexuality, even though our body wants things that don't make sense to us. Our body wants to be hit. Like, why? Like, what is the evolutionary benefit to that? Well, come to find out there is one, but it's complicated. It's unique to each individual person. It's not entirely logical in a certain kind of sense. And that's okay, because our brains and our minds and our bodies are all these like abstract concepts, just sort of trying to figure out how to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Okay. Good talk, guys.
Thanks so much for braving it. We appreciate you giving us the call. I know it's tough. Thanks so much.
Good luck.
You guys have been all so kind and everything. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Mm-hmm. Have a nice rest of your night, Marcus. Oh my goodness. I think we had some really awesome callers today, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, I think highlighting the intersection of sexuality and trauma, right? Which is it's definitely not a shock or surprise to anybody who has experienced what it's like to live in the Western world, or really just in 2020. But it's worth noting that as we're talking about exploring and our sexuality and all of these kinds of things, that we want to do so in sort of a trauma-informed way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.